everyone knows how important talented recruiting classes are, but can they be so important that they can make coaches better as compared to coaches who have less of an arsenal to play around with? The perception is yes. The reality is no, you are who you are as a coach. But what is a college coach? What's a college football coach? One of the lamest things that anyone has ever alleged in the history of talking about or covering this game is so-and-so's not a good coach. He just has all the talent. Okay, so what are we even saying there? Because a huge portion of the day-to-day responsibilities for a college coach involve recruiting, talent acquisition. Like you quite literally, there's the phrase of the year, you quite literally go out and get your players. You recruit your players. That is part of it. And so, like if I build the car and then drive the car really fast, you don't look at it and say, that car's only going fast because it's built that way. I built it. Yeah, it's going fast. So congrats to me. So if you've got a guy, if you got Kirby Smart winning a national championship last year, I don't look at him and say, well, that's easy to do with all the talent in the world. Well, that's complete garbage because Texas has a bunch of good recruiting classes stacked on top of each other in Austin. How have they done lately? So it's obviously about more than just having talent. But even if it was just about having talent, who went and got the talent? Kirby didn't step in after someone else acquired it and said, all right, I'll take it from here. No coach who's winning championships is doing that. Because talent acquisition and the evaluation process before that, and then the development process after that, is a key component or multiple components of what it takes to win. So the question was, can having more talent make a coach better? Having the talent is part of what makes the coach. I think the perception of folks out there could be directly tied to how much a coach achieves on the field, and sometimes that scale is not calibrated properly. Like I never look at Matt Campbell at Iowa State and Ryan Day at Ohio State and judge them the same because they don't have the same opportunities. I mean, realistically, they're allowed to go sit in the same living rooms for the same kids, but if a kid gets an offer from both, 9 times out of 10, he's choosing Ohio State because that's just the way it is. And Ohio State is much better resourced. Now, people who cover the sport understand that and who follow the sport understand that. But at the same time, that should also free you up to watch Ryan Day go 11-1 and maybe Matt Campbell goes 8-4 and understand, wow, both of those guys just did really good coaching jobs. I remember back when I was in college, Nick Saban came down to Columbus, Georgia, right across the street from where I was in school one year. And he spoke, it's when he was first at Alabama, I think, and he spoke about what makes a good coach. And someone asked him, he was taking questions from the audience, which in and of itself is a spectacle to behold. Head coaches taking questions from the audience. One guy asked him about, one guy actually started to engage him about his defensive philosophy. And it didn't end well. It really didn't. But someone else asked him about just, what makes you a good coach? Is it more about recruiting or is it more about scheme? And he did what I did right there. He took a deep breath because I don't think he wanted to embarrass the guy, but he said, and I know a lot of you out there think that I'm some wizard and, I could pull this grease board out. And yeah, I could talk your head in a circle because you don't do this every day. But really, when you get inside the game, most of us know the same thing. Some of us have more experience. So, if I've been in the game 20 years, I got more seasoning about myself than a rookie head coach. But everybody knows football at this level. What he said is, I figured out a long time ago. The secret's just to go get better players than everybody else. And of course, it popped the room and everyone laughed, but he didn't smile because he kind of was joking, but he wasn't joking. He's saying, look, you can try and out-scheme your way through this league, the SEC, all you want to, but eventually you come up on someone else who can scheme pretty well, but also went out and got a whole lot of good players. And that's kind of redirecting the question a second. That's my biggest concern about Brian Harsin at Auburn. My biggest concern about him is not that he doesn't know football. I'm sure he does. Absolutely he does. And it's not that he can't scheme. Absolutely he can. The problem, potentially, still early there, but the potential problem is if you don't recruit better than they have, you cannot out-scheme folks in this league because there are too many other staffs that are full of really, really good guys on grease boards, but also good in the living room. So they're every bit as good on the stovetop as you are, but they're cooking with way better ingredients. So who's going to make the better meal? And even if you out-scheme one of them, you got like 5 or 6 more of those matchups to go where a roster may be more talented than yours on a given Saturday, and yet you're going to try and out-scheme them. Can't do that. So I think to go back to the question, yeah, it makes you better if by better you just mean better in the win-loss column, which ultimately is what we're grading guys by at the end of the day, but it also has to do a lot with the resources you have to work with and properly calibrating that scale of expectation.